online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station
from beautiful Saline in southeastern Michigan.
Around the world at SunskyMysteries.com.
This is the 2009 Top 10 Webcam in the World winner. This is SETV.
Well, good evening, everybody. Bill Zam here. I am, as always, totally unprepared for the show. I was in the middle of doing a bunch of things, and I didn't even have the show notes up, but they are up now. Welcome to another exciting episode of Surrounded by Idiots, starring me, Bill Zam. Oddly enough, I'm also your host for the show. We are the Michigan League of Fed Up Citizens. You can stop by and check out our little social network over at SalineETV.com. That's SalineETV.com. And you can watch the show stream live over at USSAMichigan.com. Well, you know what? I had a very interesting conversation just a little while ago on the telephone. The Heart Institute called me to let me know that the cardiologist had reviewed all of the test results. They did an echo scan on me, and they did a stress test echo scan on me. And sadly, they have found some problems. So now I have to go in for some more $1,000 tests to find out whether or not my heart is going to explode or not. It's a distinct possibility, but hopefully not during the show tonight. Now, I'm on the new medications and everything, so hopefully we'll start to see a difference in how long I can do the show. I have had a conversation today with a gentleman who is a source of information for us. I offered him a guest spot on the show. He can come on the show. Don't even have to use a real name. He said he would prefer to stay in the background because his voice is recognizable. He is, in fact, a former investigator for the MUFON network. That would be the people that investigate unidentified flying objects. He was a field investigator for MUFON, and he did a lot of artist renderings for them, as well as interviews with witnesses, as well as some other very interesting things that he did for them during his time with them. And he is feeding us, releasing to us information from some of his interviewees, some of whom have actually written books about their experiences. We'll have that coming up sometime in the future. I'm not sure when. Hopefully he will send me his information in the near future. I will be seeing him again tomorrow for several hours, so I will talk to him again then and pump him for some more information. And you know, a lot of people ask me, Bill, why are you still doing the show? Aren't you afraid that the government is going to try to shut you down? Well, that's already been attempted, so that's no big deal at this point. After all, they collect information on virtually everyone that doesn't live in the middle of Alaska, in the middle of nowhere. I will say that over the past 60 days, during medical tests that I've had, I've died twice during those tests. Dropped dead right in the middle of the test and had to bring me back. So there's not much more that they could do to me that hasn't happened already. I've, hit the end a couple of times, so I mean, what the hell are they going to do to me? Plus, I think that I'm correct in believing that under the precepts of reality, certain portions of the society would not exist without the explicit permission of the victim, or, if you will, citizen, which would be me and you. In other words, I owe not the government for my right to life and liberty. I owe the Creator of all things for that. Let's get on to the first story. Those of you that listen to talk radio, you know that people like Hannity, Beck, and Limbaugh are under constant attack. There are efforts right now, underway right now, to ban Rush Limbaugh from the air. I'm sure it is a dream of many leftists in the country to see a nice big Department of Homeland Security seizure logo on his website. These are the types of people that make us their enemies. In fact, there are efforts underway right now to shut down this show. I notice, they probably don't think that I notice, but I notice various little things that happen. For instance, when I try to send emails to our potential guests on our own private email server, all of a sudden the email server goes crazy when I'm trying to talk to somebody that's controversial in the public eye. Our email servers mysteriously stop working this morning, or they slow down, or we have a sudden slowing down of our internet connection just as the show comes on the air. Who would have thunk it? We've had issues with our power flashing on and off during the show. We had a guest on, Alexander Bachman. He is an investigative reporter in another country, I'll say. I'm not going to tell you his location because he hasn't given me permission to do that. He has been a guest on the show. There have been several times when we have been talking, doing a pre-show or even on the show, and all of a sudden he's gone. One time a voice interrupted and said, "No, no, no." Ordered us to stop the interview, but we did not. Plus, there's the mysterious maladies that I seem to be suffering from that, wouldn't you know it, one of the side effects is it prevents me from speaking. So I couldn't do the show for almost 2 months. All of it points to either a giant series of coincidences or there is an external source involved. And I fail to believe that God would do this to me. He says he loves me after all, so it can only be chalked up to an effort to kill me by somebody else. It's a nice try. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked yet. Now, for those of you, let's switch over to the show notes so that you can read along with me. And we will go right down here. Okay. There we go. Let's get back to the show. Those of you that say, when we are talking about internet security and other various NSA type things, also at this time I'd like to say hello to our NSA handlers, wherever you may be, and welcome to the show. Those of you that say, if you haven't done anything wrong, you have nothing to worry about. You see that all the time when we talk about the NSA intercepting emails, listening in on phone conversations, what you say on Facebook, things like that. People say, wow, if you haven't done anything wrong, you have nothing to worry about. Well, let me tell you something. You need to listen carefully to this. The central government defines what is wrong, not you. They define the parameters of your behavior, not you. Look at the General Allen scandal. The emails that caused him to lose his position in the military, those were private, personal emails. What possible reason would anyone have to read his emails, his private emails? Who defined and who told anyone to look at his emails? Remember, the NSA stores virtually everything everywhere. Every single thing you do, all the money you withdraw from the bank, the store that you go to, everything from condoms that you buy, what porn you look at to who you talk to, what you look at on the internet, all of that is the purview of the National Security Agency. Now, people still say, I haven't done anything wrong, so there's no reason to come after me. I have a friend, okay? He boasts that he never uses email. He doesn't do anything that can be tracked. He uses cash for all of his purchases. But, you see, he spends endless hours on the internet watching YouTube music videos. Okay, here comes the knock on the door. Hello, this is your friendly central government NSA department. We're here to charge you with stealing that music by allowing your computer to cache it in a folder. You're under arrest. Remember, at this point, they define what you have done wrong, not you. You don't get to say, I've done nothing wrong. They get to say what you have done wrong. It's a complete dichotomy of information. And the reason why I say that is Russia Today, the RT website. They had an interview very recently with an former employee of the National Security Agency. Don't know the guy's name. And that was actually part of the interview. I have an audio clip from that. Let's listen.
It seems that the public is divided between those who think that the government surveillance program violates their civil liberties and those who say, I have nothing to hide, so why should I care? What do you say to those who think that shouldn't concern them?
The problem is, if they think they're not doing anything that's wrong, they don't get to define that. The central government does. The central government defines what is right and wrong and whether or not they target you. So it's not up to the individual, even if they think they're doing something wrong. If their position on something is against what the administration has, then they could easily become a target.
And that is a clip from that interview over at Russia Today. As you can see right here on the screen, we have a link to that interview. Once the show's over, and we have all of the audio files done and made nice and pretty and everything, we will have this the show notes and the audio of the show, as always, at USSAMichigan.com. For those of you watching on YouTube, the taped version of the show, there's a link in the description area. All you have to do is click on it, and you can follow along with the show notes, and also read all the links that we have. Now, in this interview, the young lady that was interviewing him said, in the case of General Petraeus, one would argue that there could have been security breaches. Yes, she was his biographer and with him in the field. But with General Allen, the one we just talked about, I don't quite understand, because when they were looking into his private emails to this woman, and this gentleman said, that's the whole point. I am not sure what the internal politics is. That's part of the program. The government doesn't want things in public. It's not a transparent government. Whatever the reason or the motivation was, I don't really know, but certainly think that there was something going on in the background that made them target these fellows. Otherwise, why would they be doing it? There is no crime there. And then the interviewer asks him, and I think this is probably the most important question of the entire interview, and I invite you to click the link. Go over to USSAMichigan.com and click the link, and you can watch the interview with this gentleman. And she asks him, tell me about the most outrageous thing that you came across during your work at the NSA. And he says the violations of the Constitution and any number of laws that existed at the time. That was the part I could not be associated with. They were building social networks on who is communicating with whom inside this country, so that the entire social network of everybody, of every U.S. citizen, was being compiled over time. And this is the reason for that big facility out west, the big facility that the NSA is building. It holds absolutely an astounding amount of data, teraflops of data. They just collect everything from everybody. Your bank transactions, your emails, this show, your phone calls, everything. And then if they decide that they want to do away with you, or you have become a liability, all of a sudden they take their little keyboards and go like that and call up all your data, and then they'll find something on you. Remember, you don't get to define what you've done wrong. They do. Doesn't really matter. And now, let's get on to something that is quite disturbing. It's actually has something to do with me, believe it or not. The title that I have hung on it is "I See Your Ships and Raise You an Aircraft Carrier." People talk about World War this and World War that. Here a war, there a war, everywhere a war. Remember, world wars do not usually restrict themselves to a single region. Look at World War II. Not that we humans have much experience with world wars or anything, but if one comes up that involves the United Socialist States of America, you can bet there will be more than one theater involved. People are saying that, this area, well, there's not going to be a war there. It's more likely to be in the Middle East rather than the South China Sea, and yada, yada, yada. And what's to keep some enterprising individuals from starting a two-front war that would involve the United States and spread us even thinner at this time? While most of the Western world has been focused on the Iranian, Israeli, Palestinian, Egyptian, and Syrian dramas, on the other side of the globe, there has been a situation that has been heating up and is seemingly getting worse by the day. Here we have several countries maneuvering their forces over a location which has been the focus of their consternation for some time, and now it seems to be inching closer to a confrontation. And here is the map of where I'm talking about. Right here on the screen where you see the circle, that is where the consternation and possible war is going to erupt. And right here is where my brother lives. He is, you see, quite close to a highly volatile region. We are, of course, talking about the South Sea. You'll notice on this map, I don't know if you can see it, but there is a blue dotted line that goes right there, right where I drew that line, and that is the UNCLOS 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. And this red dotted line that you see on the screen right here, this is the area, and it goes right up against the coast of the Philippines where my brother lives. That is the area that China says belongs to them, right to the coast of Vietnam, right to the coast of Brunei, right to Malaysia, and actually goes right up against the coast of Malaysia and the right in past the Scarborough Shoal out by the Philippines. So they're basically claiming a wide swath of this Pacific Ocean region. You'll notice these claims overlap with some countries' claims and appear to be more reasonable and realistic than others. The area in question seems to be rich in natural resources, and I have a plethora of articles. I have one article here. Hold on one second while I attempt to. There we go. We have one article here. We have another article here. We have another article here, and we have another article here. There are many articles. Here are some quotes from these articles. They are from various sources, and if you go to the site after the show, you will see that we have a whole bunch of links so that you can read more about this, and you can see what we're talking about here. Vietnam has accused a Chinese fishing boat of cutting a seismic cable attached to one of its vessels exploring for oil and gas near the Gulf of Tonkin, an act apparently intended to inhibit Vietnam from pursuing energy deposits. Vietnam said Tuesday that in retaliation it would send out new patrols, which include the Marine Police, to guard against increasing encroachment by Chinese fishing boats in the South China Sea. India, which operates several joint ventures with Vietnam's national energy company, PetroVietnam, said it would consider saving its Navy vessels to protect its interest in the South China Sea. Vietnam, the Philippines, and other East Asian nations accuse China of increasingly being aggressive in defending its claims in the South China Sea. China claims nearly all of the 3.5 million square kilometer area, an important shipping route that also contains energy deposits. Here are your talking points for this particular issue. The South China Sea, it has international dimensions in this situation. The events of the past few days are possibly highly significant. India is sending ships to the area. Vietnam is sending ships to the area. Japanese ships are in the area. American ships are in the area. Chinese ships in the area. And reports from Hainan that provincial officials have passed new regulations to govern the halting and boarding of foreign ships by Chinese ships in disputed waters, and that should not be underestimated. While the details have still to be fleshed out, they play on the worst fears of the rival claimants in the South China Sea. Not surprisingly, the reports have set off alarms in the wider region. That would be the Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia, and Washington itself. Beijing's assertiveness in buttressing its controversial 9-dash claim to the South China area is already challenging regional strategic assumptions. This particular situation here, folks, can only escalate unless everybody steps back. You have got naval ships from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countries now in this area, all vying for their own piece of the big pie. And in the meantime, you have innocents like Malaysia, Brunei, and the Philippines in the area of a major shooting war. This could get out of hand very, very quickly. And let me see here. I have been actually talking tonight for 24 minutes, and my voice is not getting hoarse as yet. That is a good sign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the show now. We just had those two stories for you tonight, and I thought I would touch on that stuff and get another show under my belt. We are also working on a guest for the show. Listen to this. This guy is a 20-year researcher of the Kennedy assassination. He has interviewed some of the witnesses that have never been interviewed before, that have refused all interviews, and he has been able to interview them, and he is out with a new book. We are going to try to get him on the show in the near future. So, at any rate, my name is Belzam. I appreciate you stopping by tonight. Don't forget to stop by the websites and, check out the social networking site and maybe stop by and watch the show live once in a while. We don't have a hard set schedule right now. It's about, I don't know, around 6 o'clock that we go on the air, depending on what I feel like and what kind of a mood I'm in. So, at any rate, my name is Belzam. Thank you for showing up, and as always, drive carefully out there, because when a car hits a car, that's an accident. When a car hits a child, that's a tragedy. Have a good evening.